Bob Strafus on the left, Dan Watson in the middle, and Paul Wilson on the right. They will handle the officiating duties tonight. There's the tip. Texas Tech in white, the Cougars in their red road uniforms. And Texas Tech controls from the offset. The Red Raiders going from their right to left on your television set. That's Bubba Jennings, the little guard out of Clovis, New Mexico, a slick ball handler. Over to David Reynolds, the other guard. Blocked by Olajuwon. Tried to save by Mishaw. Shot by Texas Tech off the mark, but rebounded by the Red Raiders. Back up by Anderson. David Reynolds, his first two for the night. And Texas Tech breaks the ice first with a bucket. 2-0 Red Raiders.
Bill, that was King's 200th block of his career at the U of H.
200 blocks for Akeem Olajuwon. Michael Young from where he likes it on the baseline. Won't go. Really getting on the boards. David Reynolds quickly down court. Vince Taylor goes for the slam and misses it. And a foul is called on Michael Young.
Bill, they were very lucky that time, Houston was, that they fell asleep and let the Red Raiders just get down court right ahead of them. Just flat out hustle on that one.
This broadcast is authorized by Texas Tech and the University of Houston. It is intended solely for the entertainment of our viewing audience. Any rebroadcast or other use without the express written consent of KHTV is prohibited. The announcers for this broadcast are retained by KHTV. Bubba Jennings, and it's 4-zip, Texas Tech. I told you this place holds 10,000 people. They are jammed in here tonight. Seeing if Texas Tech can upset Houston. Patrick Franklin. Franklin on the penetration, and he started penetrating, George, ever since a couple of games ago against TCU. He started going inside. That's Alvin, excuse me.
I tell you, he has a strangest shot, a little risky with his. He appears to be batting the ball instead of shooting it, but it goes in.
Is called on Clyde Drexler, number 23. His first, the second team foul on Houston. Texas Tech will control under its own bucket. That's David Reynolds bringing it in. Reynolds, the Southwest Conference Player of the Week last week. Vince Taylor out to Bubba Jennings. Texas Tech will set it up. The Cougars. Franklin outside on Jennings. Texas Tech very deliberate. 45-second shot clock down to 27 seconds. Vince Taylor from the side of the key off the back of the iron. Tipped up by Tech. The Red Raiders really getting on the ball. But Clyde Drexler clears for Houston. Here come the Cougars trailing by 2. Franklin. And Ray Irvin with a rebound for Texas Tech. Bubba Jennings fakes Mishaw up in the air. Passes it underneath to Irvin for 2. Nice play by Bubba Jennings on the assist. Give the bucket to Ray Irvin, his first of the night. And it's 6-2, Texas Tech.
They're passing the ball very well, Bill. They can pass the ball like that inside. They get the Cougars all they want.
Michael Young looking inside for Akeem. Not there. Drexler has the ball inside, close to the paint. Puts it up for 2. What an athlete. Clyde Drexler hangs up in the air and gets the 2 points for Houston. It's a 6-4 game, Texas Tech. Bubba Jennings will bring it up for the Red Raiders. Alvin Franklin on Jennings. A foul is called underneath. The foul is called on David Reynolds of Texas Tech. First team foul on Tech. Reynolds is having to be restrained by the official. He did not agree with that call. A lot of pushing and shoving. This could be a pretty physical game, George, because Houston is a physical basketball.
That was Clyde and Reynolds have shoved 3 or 4 times here, and Clyde won't back down, and I don't think Reynolds will either in front of his hometown.
Alvin Franklin over to Drexler looking inside. Franklin back out to Young. Franklin has had the shot the last couple of downs to Akeem. A lot of bumping going on. Tipped up by Clyde Drexler. What a move by the forward. The University of Houston, it's tied at 6. Bubba Jennings bringing it up for the Red Raiders. Alvin Franklin on Jennings. Cougars in a man-to-man. Out to Anderson, Quentin Anderson. Over to David Reynolds, knocked out of his hand. And Bubba Jennings has it. 27 seconds left on the shot clock. He likes it from there, and he overshoots everything. Look at the brick.
Well, that was not a good shot.
Alvin Franklin. Back to Franklin. Crowd wanted charging on Drexler, but he got rid of the basketball soon enough. Michael Young at the free throw line. Back around the horn. Cougars moving it real good, and a whistle. A foul inside called on Ray Irvin of Texas Tech.
I was going to say, Bill, I don't believe that Gerald Myers wants his team to shoot the ball that quick and that far out. They've had 2, one from Taylor and now one from Bubba. with way too much time on the shot clock.
Reed Geddes checks in for Houston, and he always checks in this situation when the Cougars have it underneath their own bucket. Watch for a quick pass from Geddes to one of the Cougars. He's looking for Drexler. Now he's got him. He throws it away. Vince Taylor for Texas Tech. He's got nowhere to go. The Cougars back quickly on defense. Texas Tech will set it up. Bubba Jennings at the control for the Red Raiders. Jennings a 14-point scoring average. Quentin Anderson guarded closely by Larry Mishaw. Back to Ray Irvin, the jump shot. And Texas Tech back out in front, 8-6.
Not a bad shot for a 6'10". 6'10" fellow there. Nice little jumper.
And a freshman who looked like he wasn't going to get much playing time this year, but he's had plenty of playing time up to now. Mishaw muscles in over Quentin Anderson.
So this
game is tied again at 8.
One thing Mishaw does that is so outstanding is that he does not dribble the ball. He gets the ball and he goes right for the hole. If you dribble the ball, the defense has a chance to collapse on you. And a lot of pro players don't know that, but you don't dribble the ball when you get inside.
Basket by David Reynolds. And for Reynolds, that's 4 points. Another 2-point game. Tech leading. Reed Geddes. Bubba Jennings on Geddes. Akeem whirls to the bucket. Off the glass. He's fouled. No bucket. And Akeem Olajuwon will go to the line for Houston. Just a little earlier, Akeem blocked himself a shot.
Okay, right inside. Now Akeem there. It's also a very quick spin, and I don't think that Irvin is ready for him to wheel and deal quite that fast, Bill.
Akeem now has 200 career block shots. Swishes the cords. The big guy, as you see his statistics, makes them both, and the game is deadlocked at 10 once again. Texas Tech has won 3 in a row and played Arkansas a very tough game up here, a 3-point loss. So the Red Raiders have been coming on strong down the stretch. All these freshmen and sophomores getting a lot of playing time.
They beat SMU and TCU along with Texas, so they haven't played too many Patsies this spring.
Well, there's an argument that the Southwest Conference is we have a timeout on the court. So with 14:59 left to play in the first half, we've got a tie game and a dandy. We'll be back with more right after this brief timeout. And went to the coaches. There's Guy Lewis in his 27th year at the University of Houston. Guy with 520 wins, 245 losses.
He looks worried, Bill.
Well, I would be too. The team's tied, and you know everybody's been talking that Houston's going to be number 2 come Monday when the polls come out. Guy says, heck, we haven't even played anybody yet.
Guy has had an awful time convincing people this year that he doesn't have a good team.
He said we haven't played Texas Tech to go to number 2 yet. He said they could be tough, and they are right now. They're hanging tough. But we were talking a little earlier. Gerald only plays about 6 or 7 players. He said, we'll take all the TV timeouts you guys want to have. Shoot, we love it. Quentin Anderson over to Ray Irvin, looking for Bubba Jennings, intercepted by Young. The long arm of Michael Young. That's the advantage of having a 6'6" guard. Traveling called on Clyde Drexler. Paul Wilson, the official, right there to call it.
I believe Clyde was a little bit indecisive then if he wanted to make a drive or wanted to pass. He got caught right in between and result travel.
So he waltzed instead. Bubba Jennings at the control. Reed Geddes on him. An interesting story about Reed. His father was an All-American football player here at Texas Tech. Wanted Reed to go here to Texas Tech, but they didn't offer him a scholarship. I bet they wish they had now. Texas man up in the air trying to get it off. Ray Irvin saves it for Texas Tech. Sloppy ball handling, and Tech out of bounds. Off the official, Paul Wilson, but unfortunately he's not
the fans don't like it, Bill, but there was no way that Tech could have saved that ball anyway.
This game is tied at 10. 14:22 to play in the first half. Reed Geddes just about to set another record for assists here at the U of H, and a foul call inside on David Reynolds of Texas Tech. And checking in for the Red Raiders, number 5, Kent Wichahusky. We'll see a replay of that now. The crowd didn't like it. They thought, yeah, he got him on the wrist. David Reynolds. Reed Geddes will bring it in. Wichahusky in now. And Geddes throws it away. Michael Young zagged. Geddes zigged. And the Cougars have another turnover. 14:12 to play. Texas Tech. Slow start here in Lubbock. Alvin Franklin prepares to check back in for Houston. Bubba Jennings drives all the way to the paint. Witchahusky off the glass. Won't go down. Akeem with some intimidation. A scramble on the floor. Look at Clyde Drexler and Witchahusky for a jump ball. All right. Lots of hustle there by both teams. And the Houston Cougars have it on the first jump ball, so the Cougars will get possession. The next tie ball will go to Texas Tech. Alvin Franklin in the ball game now for Reed Geddes. So Franklin and Young will be in the backcourt. Drexler, Akeem, and Mishaw on the front line. Franklin charging for the ball. Alvin Franklin called for the charge. I gave him a plug of Patrick Franklin a minute ago, so I made the football player happy at the U of H. Patrick, if you're watching, I got a plug in for you too. 10-10. Bubba Jennings. Traveling call on David Reynolds. Yes, he did. And Bob Strafus made the call right away, so Reynolds off to a shaky start for Texas Tech right now, but he had some great games for Tech last week. Alvin Franklin set it up. Game tie. It's been stuck on 10 now for about 3 minutes. Inside to Mishaw. Whirls. Shoots. Good.
See, again, no dribble. Gets the ball and goes right to the hole with the ball.
Cougars leading by 2. 13-17. Left to play in the first half. Bubba Jennings all the way to the left baseline. Comes back out to the key. Passes off to Quentin Anderson. He gets by Mishaw. Puts up the jumper off the back iron. Drexler clears the rebound. Cougars have a fast break, but he slows it up. Drexler will give it back to Franklin. The Cougars will set up their offense.
Again, the Raiders are shooting the ball just a little bit too quick.
Drexler with a jump shot from 20 feet. Good. And Clyde Drexler now with 6 points for Houston. The Cougars 4 up on Tech. Bubba Jennings asking for instructions from Gerald Myers. By the way, Gerald Myers will be our halftime guest tonight. Witchahusky back out across to Quentin Anderson. Anderson in the corner. Nowhere to go with it. Back outside to David Reynolds. Witchahusky and Akeem, big guys right there. Witchahusky won't take it to the bucket. Vince Taylor will shoot from way out. No good. Michael Young with a rebound.
Very poor shot selection, Phil. They're going to have to play an awful lot if they want to stay in this game.
Well, George Witchahusky passed up a 6-foot shot to
get an 18-footer.
For an 18-footer. Right. Well, Drexler's been hot so far. It won't go. Rat-a-tats the iron. Witchahusky keeps it alive. Good hustle for the Red Raiders. Out to Bubba Jennings, quickly across the 10-second line. Alvin Franklin on Jennings, fakes him up in the air and a foul call.
Bubba's been giving Alvin quite a bit of trouble. He's gotten Alvin off his feet 3 or 4 times. The last time he went right past him. It's second foul on Alvin, second foul on Alvin.
You should never leave your feet, right, George?
That's right. Okay, here goes Alvin up in the air. There's nowhere to go but down right on the guy. You can't do that and play good defense.
Vince Taylor out front for Texas Tech. Cougars now in the zone. Taylor will put it up from the parking lot, and Akeem Olajuwon clears for Houston. Nobody underneath for Texas Tech. Clyde Drexler back to Alvin Franklin. Cougars up by 4. 11:30 left to play. Akeem wheeling and dealing inside for 2. Wow, what a move by the big guy. The 7-footer, he changed his shot in midair.
He is so fast for a man that size, I cannot believe it. He is just incredibly fast.
16-10 now. Bubba Jennings being guarded by Alvin Franklin. Over to David Reynolds. Reynolds puts it up from 20 feet. A lot of long bombs. Witchahusky stolen by Drexler. Drexler's by 1 Texas Tech Red Raider. Watch out. Passes off to Franklin. Good assist for Clyde the Glide. I thought he was going to go to Phi Slamma Jamma, but instead he passed it off to Franklin, and Gerald Myers and Texas Tech want a timeout. So with 11 minutes left to play in the first half from Lubbock, it's University of Houston 18, Texas Tech 10. We'll be back with McMurray, starring the Academy Award-winning motion picture, The Apartment. Hilarious comedy, tomorrow at 2, here on Channel 39. The Cougars up by 8 with 11 minutes to play in the first half. George, you had an interesting observation.
Tech insists on firing those long bombs from out in front, Bill, and I cannot understand why. When they do that, you get a long rebound, and it gives Houston a great chance to start another fast break. They cannot shoot the ball from 20 feet away and expect to come anywhere close to win this game tonight.
And it's 33% from the field for Texas Tech. The University of Houston shooting 66%. Most of the shots for the Cougars coming at point-blank range. Witchahusky over to David Reynolds, a new player in for Tech. There he is, number 34, Tony Benford. He's a good-looking young freshman out of Hobbs, New Mexico, but his shot won't go down, and Michael Young, who averages 5 rebounds a game, pulls off another Caron. Quickly to Mishaw, behind the back pass to Clyde the Glide. Oh, what a play by Larry Mishaw, and that's a new one for me. I have not seen that one this year.
Larry has eyes on the back of his belt buckle.
Oh, my. What a pass, and it's 20-10. Houston, 10-13 to play. David Reynolds, Drexler call for the foul, reaching around. That's 2 fouls now on Clyde. Let's see it again. Well, he reached around. We missed it. He reached around before we got to the play.
I don't think so.
Checking in for Texas Tech, number 34, Tony Benford. He's a 6'3" freshman out of Hobbs, and he comes off the bench averaging about 9 points a game here lately for Texas Tech. So he provides their instant offense for Gerald Myers and his troops. He's one to keep an eye on. He's going to be a good ball player in the Southwest Conference. Tony Benford. The ball is to Benford right now. I saw him against SMU earlier this year, George. He hit 8 out of 8 shots when he came in the game.
And a great clutch free throw shooter in the final minutes of the game.
Shot clock down to 22 seconds. Remember, you have the 45-second shot clock in the Southwest Conference. It goes off in the final 5 minutes of the game.
Tech ought to take 44 of them, Bill, every time.
Inside to Quentin Anderson. Off the glass, intimidation by Houston. That's all there is to that one. 4-on-2, Houston. Alvin Franklin inside to Reed Geddes. Fakes his man up in the air and travel.
Well, that's too bad they had a 4-on-1 break there. They passed the ball well, but Reed just tried one fake too many.
Geddes had the layup, passed it up. Tony Benford brings it up for Texas Tech. Benford will be in there along with Quentin Anderson and David Reynolds. Kent Wichahusky, Bubba Jennings with the bucket from the corner. Texas Tech now down by 8. Alvin Franklin quickly up for Houston. 9:06 to play. Texas Tech in a man-for-man defense. A foul called on Kent Wichahusky. Wichahusky is a 6'11", 230-pound freshman out of Moore Park, California. And let's see the contact one more time.
And Mishaw is really muscling his way in there, and he's got good position. They had to foul him to get him out of the middle.
A whole bunch of substitutes now for Houston. We've got Eric Dickens, number 15, David Rose, number 25, checking into the ball game for Houston.
Get the women and kids off the street. David Rose is here.
We'll have an interview with David Rose at halftime for you. He wears his age on his jersey. He's a 25-year-old senior guard for Houston, and he'll tell you how he put up by Akeem Olajuwon. He's fouled by Wichahusky, and the bucket will count. So the big guy shows a little more spark tonight, George, operating inside than he has the last couple of weeks.
Okay, here you see a quick bounce, again a turn. Akeem really has a turnaround jumper down.
Akeem with 6 points, going for his 7th point right here to complete the three-point play. It's short off the iron, and Benford with a rebound to Bubba Jennings, and Tech will bring it up. The Red Raiders trailing by 10, 8:44 to play in the first half. Bubba Jennings around the key, up to the top of the key, looking for Vince Taylor, who's checked back in for Tech, and a foul is called on Eric Dickens. His first, he just checked in. Akeem and Drexler will be along the back line.
Houston's playing just fantastic defense there, Bill. They're really swarming the ball, hustling inside, and forcing Tech to shoot those outside shots a lot of times. Tech has worked it in 3 or 4 times, but even on the close-range shots, they've had guys with hands in their faces.
Geddes and Vince Taylor into a shoving match there a moment ago. Clyde Drexler broke it up. David Rose with a foul. That's not too unusual to see. David...
There's nothing discreet about David. And Guy would agree with that, I'm sure, right there.
Guy's going to chew a hole in that gum, right?
David comes to play. I tell you, there's no half throttle. He's out there turning around like a pinball.
Texas Tech to the line. Bubba Jennings. Houston now in the penalty. Texas Tech in the penalty. And Bubba Jennings will shoot, leading the Southwest Conference in free throws. Bubba is number 1.
He had 30 straight earlier this year. That's an all-time Southwest Conference record, Bill.
Texas Tech leads the conference in team shooting from the free throw line. So you don't, if it's a close game, you don't want to put Tech on that line early, because they'll make most of their one-and-one situations. In fact, that's how they won their 3 games the last couple of weeks, is at the free throw line. They were awfully close down the stretch. Akeem whirling and working.
He wants the ball. He wants the ball tonight, Bill. You can see he's getting the ball and going right to the hole with it. And He seems to want it.
8 points for the big guy. Cougars up by 10. 8:13 to play in the first half. Benford on Rose. Back to Bubba Jennings. Puts it up off the iron for 2.
Now that's his spot. He can shoot from there. Other 4, forget it.
8 points for Bubba Jennings. He's the high point man for Texas Tech. Hakeem for Houston. Eric Dickens will work it around the other side of the court. Back to Rose. Back to Geddes as they work it to the... They work it down trying to get it to Drexler. Geddes down the baseline. Nothing going there. Inside. Drexler. Turnaround jump shot. Off the back of the iron. Cleared by Benford. Quickly to Jennings. Texas Tech with a fast break. Jennings working on Dickens. Good defense. Pass to Taylor. Vince Taylor for 2. His first 2 points of the game.
Houston did a poor job of getting back that time. The Raiders did not beat them down court ever.
6 points difference now. Back inside to Hakeem. It's really working. Off the back of the iron. Hakeem hustles for it, and he's called for a foul. First foul of the game on Olajuwon, and Texas Tech is in the 1-and-1 free throw situation. Let's watch it again.
That's too bad, Bill. That's just good hustling, aggressive defense. I'm going for the ball. And you hate to see a referee take that aggression out of a player.
Well, we were talking to Hakeem about it earlier, and he feels like that later on, if he decides to go to pro ball, which I'm sure he will, George, that they won't call those type of fouls on him. And I really don't think if the Cougars get into the NCAA playoffs, they tend to let you play more in the NCAA, so
they sure do. If you aren't shy by then from having too many of those picked up and called on you.
Bubba Jennings now with 10 points. He's 4 of 4 from the line, and we've got a timeout. The 10,000 plus in Lubbock up on their feet because Texas Tech is making a run at Houston. It's 24-20 Cougars. We'll be back with more action right after this commercial. Cougars are shooting 64%, 11 of 17 from the field. Texas Tech up to 40% now, 8 of 20 from the field. Tech getting a better shot selection. We have some scores for you right now in the first half. It's Rice 17, Texas 12. That's a battle to get out of the cellar in the Southwest Conference. And at halftime, it's SMU 29, Baylor 22 as the Cougars bring it up. Alvin Franklin around a pick set by Hakeem. And the foul is called on Tony Benford, and Benford gives him a quizzical look like, hey, man, I've gotten away with more than that, and you haven't called it.
Bill, one big factor also in the game is that the rebounds are tied at 10-10. Texas Tech should not be rebounding that well against these fellows, and if they are, well, there's a lack of hustle someplace.
Both teams in the 1-and-1. Franklin to the line. Puts it up off the rim. Hakeem with the rebound for 2. Olajuwon with a rebound and a bucket. 10 points for the big Nigerian, and the boos you hear because he had to go over the back of the Texas Tech Red Raider to get it. The referees deemed that he did it cleanly. The crowd didn't think so.
Oh, justice, Bill. That might have been a foul there. The other one wasn't.
David Reynolds into Irvin. Knocked out of bounds by Alvin Franklin, and Texas Tech will control. 24 ticks on the shot clock. 6:44 left in the first half. Houston up by 6. Reynolds will bring it in to Bubba Jennings. Vince Taylor at the post. Benford and Irvin, the rest of the Tech lineup. Bounce pass to Irvin. He has it from the baseline. He misses everything. Saved on good hustle by Larry Mishaw to Hakeem to Alvin Franklin. The Cougars will bring it up, leading by 6. Benford on Franklin. So far, Drexler with 8 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. A foul is called again on Tony Benford. His second. Good penetration here by Franklin, right, Jordan?
Yes, it really is. He gets the play before Bubba had gotten past Franklin. Here, Franklin does a little about play and gets the foul.
The freshman from Lamarck is a well-built 6'2", 190-pounder.
They have Patrick up there too. They've been listening.
Well, it's not Patrick Franklin. We made that mistake earlier. It's Alvin. Patrick's getting more pub in the basketball season than he got in football season.
Don't know his name next year up here.
I think people all over the country are going to know this young man's name before he gets through at Houston. 28-20. The Cougars back out to an 8-point lead. Texas Tech trying to hang in there and doing a good job of it. Bubba Jennings at the controls for the Red Raiders. Over to Tony Benford. Cougars in a trapping zone. Around Reed Geddes. Good quickness by Benford up with the shot. Mishaw over the back for a foul. They called it that time. And I don't know that time.
He got up high. I'll tell you, this is a good change in defenses by Guy, going from the man-to-man to zone, because Bubba had been breaking down the man-to-man, getting inside there, getting around Franklin, and this is a good deal. With the zone defense now, they can clog that middle up a little bit better, Bill, and they won't be quite so susceptible to Jennings breaking them down inside.
Vince Taylor at the line. His brother Jeff, of course, plays for the Houston Rockets. And Vince having a good season here at Tech. Taylor averaging 10 points a game. Tonight he has 3, going for number 4 right here. Texas Tech perfect from the free throw line so far, and trailing by only 6 with 6:08 to play. What a job Gerald Myers has done with this young Texas Tech ball club. We'll be talking to Gerald at halftime. Pass inside to Mishaw. That time Franklin thought Mishaw saw him and was going to the bucket. Mishaw was coming up to the post. So
asleep with the switch. They hurt you every time.
They didn't jive on that one, and Tech with a chance to close to within 4 points. And if Texas Tech gets a bucket here, this place is going to go bananas. You can bet on that. Vince Taylor. Back to Benford. They're playing pitch and catch. Benford down the baseline. Gets the pass off to Irvin. Nowhere to go. Back out. Good penetration. Can he get it off? Yes, he does. The little bitty guy runs into the...
Once again, he got around Alvin.
The Giants, and he scores.
Got around Alvin once again, and Alvin has got to keep his feet and stay down there, keep that guy out of the middle. 12
points for Bubba Jennings. Off to a slow start this year with a broken right hand, but he's really come on strong here lately to lead Texas Tech. He's given them great guidance. 4-point game from the corner. Alvin Franklin. 8 points for Franklin, intercepted by Michael Young. Well, I don't agree. He says he violated the 10-second line.
Gets over and back.
I'd like to see this one again. He claims that Young, Lewis is arguing that he was carried into the backcourt by the intercepted pass. But the referee, Dan Watson, says he intercepted in the front court and went to the back. And you're not going to change that. Texas Tech with the basketball. David Reynolds to Tony Benford, looking inside. Was Vince Taylor. Back out to Bubba Jennings. One of the classy little guards in the conference. Contact. No foul call. Texas Tech with the basketball. 22 ticks on the shot clock. Vince Taylor puts it up, and the Cougars go sky high. Mishaw takes it away from Drexler. Quickly, Alvin Franklin pushes it up court. He's got Michael Young. Young will shoot it from 20 feet. Bingo! And the Cougars back up by 8. 4:35 to play in the first half. Michael Young out of the ace. What a job he's done. Mr. Clutch all year for Houston, George.
That's where he wants it, too. On those wings, he is so deadly from down there with a little left-handed jumper.
David Reynolds almost overshoots everything. Benford there for the rebound. Shoots it over Akeem. And it's rebounded by Texas Tech. Irvin with 6 points.
Akeem went for the block then and left Irvin unblocked out.
When you go for that block shot, you do leave a position for the rebound. And charging foul called on Michael Young. Good position by Vince Taylor. The Taylor boys are noted for their defense. Gerald Myers does a heck of a job of coaching. Now watch him get his body in position. And they called Young for the elbow.
Got him right in the chest, knocked him back. A little acting, but it was a genuine bona fide foul.
Jeff Taylor really plays great defense for the Rockets. Vince Taylor for Texas Tech. And you'll always find these Gerald Myers teams very well coached, George.
And usually with several Hobbs products. They have a pipeline to Hobbs. They've got some great high school teams out in the Hobbs.
Tony Benford from way out on the high plains. Won't go down. Mishaw up high for the rebound. Clears it. And here we see Derek Giles for the first time in the ball game with that heavily taped left thigh. He has been out for the last 3 games for Houston. So he's in there trying to get something started for the Cougars. As you know, Giles started the season along with Eric Dickens for Houston. He hasn't seen much playing time recently, however. Akeem whirls and deals for Houston. Akeem Olajuwon, 12 points now as he's really cooking inside. Houston by 8.
How can a man that big be that smooth, float like that?
3:18 left to play in the first half. David Reynolds. Inside to Bubba Jennings, puts up a prayer, won't go down. It's tipped around, controlled by Benford. Left hands it up for 2. Tony Benford couldn't put it up with his right hand for fear of getting it blocked, so he put it up with his left. A great move by the young freshman. Benford with 2 points. Knocked out of bounds by Tech. Houston will have it. 2:55 left to play. Reed Geddes checks in to bring the ball in for Houston. And Derek Giles will check out. Timeout is being called by Gerald Myers and the Red Raiders. So we got a good ball game for you. with 2:55 left to play in the first half. It's Houston 34, Tech star Roger Staubach. Texas Week on PM Magazine. That's Monday at 6:30 here on Channel 39. Well, Gifford and Staubach ought to have something to talk about.
A couple old quarterbacks.
That's right.
Well, discuss handoffs or.
Well, one of them's old. You can't say Giff's old.
Giff has those old shoulders, old knees, old bones.
The University of Houston, 15 of 21 for 71% from the field. Texas Tech only shooting 37%. But it's a 6-point game.
Cougars have 8 turnovers to only 5 for Tech. Also, that's a big stat, Bill.
Watch a quick pass by Geddes. This time he makes the safe pass out to Akeem. And the Cougars will set it up. Reed Geddes will run the show. Michael Young, where he likes it from the baseline, about 20 feet. He's off tonight. Won't get it. Akeem with a dunk shot for Abilene.
They have been tough on that footwork tonight, I tell you.
Well, I thought Phi Slama Jama is not having a rush party tonight. They only have one dunk shot. Akeem does not have a dunk. He has a block. As you see, Derek Giles check back in for Houston. He looks like he's still favoring that sore left thigh, George.
I think that this is a defensive substitution, though, Bill. I think he wanted to get Derek in there, try to cut down Bubba's penetration.
Bubba Jennings really doing a job for Texas Tech. From the baseline, David Reynolds, it won't go up, and the intimidation by Akeem Olajuwon there.
You can see there the dramatic arch on his shot. He arched that ball tremendously.
If he just makes you change your shot a half an inch, you'll usually miss it. And that's the value of having the big guy. Drexler, rat-a-tats, won't go down. Tony Benford with good position on Michael Young. Stolen by Drexler. Puts it up for 2. Oh, the quick hands of Clyde the Glide. Drexler with 10 points.
I think he read the eyes then. He saw the pass coming in from the guy's eyes from the very beginning.
1:57 left. Quentin Anderson. Bubba Jennings. 2. Wow, can that youngster get after it? 14 points for Bubba Jennings. 14 of the 30 Texas Tech points. Houston by 6, 1:45 left to play in the first half. All the way across court to Michael Young. Stops and shoots the jumper from 18. Bingo for Michael Young. That's only 4 points for Young, but he has a way of heating up if he starts slow. Bubba Jennings penetrates some more. Nothing called. Back out to Jennings again as he sets it up for Texas Tech. Anderson to Benford. Drexler going for the steal, and they say Drexler knocked it out of bounds. Drexler starting to freelance, and so Gerald Myers wants to get Vince Taylor in to do something about Clyde Drexler right now. So Tony Benford checks out, and Vince Taylor checks back in. Number 44, a 6'5 sophomore out of Hobbs.
When Clyde begins playing that free safety back there, other team's offense had better be careful.
Well, the Cougars can overplay a little bit with a big guy back there blocking, swatting shots away.
It's a tremendous difference. You can freelance, you can gamble, you can do so many more things when you have a big rejector in the middle.
You see them looking inside. Now they have to take that shot, and they're missing it.
Yeah.
That's the only shot that the Cougars are giving them. Now, if they were hitting that, this game would be awfully, awfully tight.
There's one guy who can hit that shot in the white suit, that's Bubba Jennings.
Traveling called on Michael Young. He can't believe it. But referee Paul Wilson was right there. 54 seconds left to play. The Cougars trying to shake Tech, but Tech staying right in there with them, mainly because of that little guy right there, Bubba Jennings.
And Houston turnovers. They've had 4 or 5 travel calls against them already, Bill.
Knocked away by Houston. A big scramble for Young. Goes over the back, and a foul is called on Michael Young.
I believe if Bubba had been 6'6" that time, they wouldn't.
That's the 3rd personal foul now on Young.
Well, he kind of rodeoed him down there. I guess that's legitimate. But I think if Bubba were 6'6", like Michael is, they might have called that.
The Coliseum rodeo record for bulldogging is 4.8. Michael was going for it.
He tied it then.
Reed Geddes checks back in for Houston.
Still, you like to see that kind of aggressiveness on defense. You don't want to take that away from your players.
Halftime, Texas 27, Rice 25. 37 seconds left. It's a 6-point game. Tech hanging tough. Derek Giles will bring it up for Houston. Will the Cougars go for the last shot? Let's see. Jennings on Giles. Over to Drexler from the free throw line. Off the back of the iron. And Vince Taylor has it. Now Tech will go for the final shot. And a chance to cut it to 4. And the old Mr. Momentum could take over here if Tech could get a bucket at the buzzer.
I don't believe Clyde's mama trying to play like that, Bill.
Gerald Myers is calling out, let's run play number 3. 9 seconds left. 8 seconds from the corner. Overshoots everything. Vince Taylor gets it, puts it inside to Quentin Anderson, puts it up at the buzzer. It won't go down, and there is the end of the first half. Tech with 2 shots and could not get it down. So we've got a great basketball game going for you here in Lubbock. At the end of the first half, it's Houston 38, Texas Tech 32. We'll be back with more of West Texas, Lubbock, Texas. I'm Bill Worrell along with George White, and we've got a dandy of a ball game going for you. The score right now 38-32. The University of Houston Cougars over the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Right now in scoring for Texas Tech, it's been all Bubba Jennings, the little guard out of Hobbs, New Mexico, with 16 points. Ray Irvin has 6 points, 4 for Vince Taylor, but the damage has been done by Bubba Jennings for Texas Tech. For the Cougars, Clyde Drexler with 10 points, 2 steals. Akeem Olajuwon with 12 points, 1 blocked shot. And that's about it. Alvin Franklin has added 8. We have yet to hear very much, George, from Michael Young.
You know, that should really be a cause for concern for Texas Tech, because Michael is going to get hot eventually. And the fact that he has only got 4 points, and Tech is still behind by 6 or 8 points, by 6 points here, isn't it?
How much of a factor will it be now that Guy Lewis is playing a lot of players and Gerald Myers is only having to play,
I believe it'll be a great factor, a great factor.
And that's been the difference. The field goals, the Cougars have way ahead on that, George, 17-12.
The difference is, Bill, that Tech has shot 34 field goal tries, and Houston only 26. So there's a difference of 8 there. That's pretty monumental.
Cougars red hot from the field, but look in the rebounding department. Tech out rebounding Houston by 3, and some of those coming on the offensive board.
Tech is really working over the Cougars on the offensive boards, and the reason why is because if they're shooting those long shots, and the long shot gets a long rebound just by physics, and so the ball is bouncing over the Cougars' inside defensive guys and going right back into the hands of the perimeter guys in Texas Tech there.
Houston with 4 more turnovers and Houston with 2 more fouls. Let's go quickly now to the standings in the Southwest Conference and see how they shape up going into this game. Houston with a 12-0 mark. Arkansas beating TCU today, 11-1, setting up that big date on March the 3rd if Houston gets by TCU, only leading by 6 here. If they get by Texas Tech, I mean. Tech really battling. A win tonight for Gerald Myers' group puts them tied with TCU at 7-5. A&M still in the hunt, so a real battle right there for those 3 positions. There you see SMU, Baylor, Rice, and Texas fighting it out for the bottom rung. So we should have an exciting second half of action for you. UH up by 6 over Tech. We'll be back in just a moment. Before we get started, both teams out on the court. Both coaches talked a little bit longer than usual, George, to their teams.
I believe that both had some surprises. I don't think that Guy Lewis figured that his team would not be out rebounding Tech, and Gerald Myers, I'm sure, would like for his team to pass the ball a little more and get the ball inside a little more often.
George, Bubba Jennings was 5 of 7 from the field in the first half, 6 of 6 from the free throw line for 16 points. Now, Bubba only had 10 points in Houston the first time these 2 teams met. He's already got 16 in the first half.
Well, he learned something from that game, whatever it was. I'll tell you another thing about Bubba. I've noticed 4 or 5 times now. He's broken down the defense, got inside, and passed off to a teammate for an easy 8-footer, and teammate has missed a shot. If he had a little help from his friends, who knows?
The last game I did with Houston from on the road was at SMU. The Mustangs only trailing by 2 at the half, 31-29. Michael Young had only had 4 points to that time, but finished with 24. He had 20 in the second half. Michael right now has only 4 points against Texas Tech. So you might look for Young to look for the bucket a little bit more in the second half. Olajuwon doing pretty good with 12 points.
Michael also has 3 fouls, and that really curtailed his playing time in the first half. So I believe that Guy will probably kind of give him the free rein here and say, just go out and get him, play hard. Got 2 more fouls to waste, and go after him.
Olajuwon with 2 block shots. Clyde Drexler so far with 10 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. So Clyde having his usual well-rounded game as Texas Tech will bring it in now. Both teams with the same starting lineups on the floor besides the center. Wichahusky will start for Texas Tech at the center position. The Cougars in a zone defense. Vince Taylor around to Quentin Anderson, back to Vince Taylor. Wichahusky in the middle, guarded by Akeem Olajuwon. There's David Reynolds. Reynolds comes around the horn. Inside now, Quentin Anderson takes it from the key for 2, so Texas Tech draws first blood in the second half. We've got a 4-point ball game. Alvin Franklin will bring it up for Houston. Michael Young will be in the backcourt. Drexler, Mishaw, and Olajuwon along the front line for Houston. Looking inside. Cougars will always come down and look inside first. If they don't have that inside game after about the first 15 seconds, then they'll go to their outside game, which is usually Michael Young or Alvin Franklin. Michael Young looking for Akeem, back to Franklin. 18 seconds left on the shot clock. At almost point-blank range, a hook shot from Mishaw. He's showing me all kinds of new moves.
No, I haven't seen that shot in his repertoire either. He faked one way, came the other way with a little hook shot, a little sweeping hook, and right in the middle.
Mishaw with 6 points. Cougars leading by the same amount. Bubba Jennings to Vince Taylor. Back around to David Reynolds as the Cougars in that zone, packing it inside the paint. Going to make Texas Tech shoot from outside. Vince Taylor. There's a 45-second clock. It will shut off with 5 minutes and under left to play in this game. Wichahusky back out to Jennings. Remember how hot he was in the first half. Into Wichahusky, puts it up and it rolls off the iron. And Mishaw clears for Houston. A big groan from the crowd. They wanted that one to roll in, and it rolled just outside the cylinder.
Well, this is a very crucial time for Cougars. Only about the first 5 minutes of the second half is when they blow it open.
All right, Drexler. Back to Akeem. Puts it up off the glass, and he's fouled. The foul on Kent Wichahusky. That's foul number 2 on Wichahusky. Correction, that's foul number 3. Irvin has 2, so the centers have combined for 5 fouls on Olajuwon already. Ray Irvin with 2 fouls, Wichahusky with 3, Akeem at the line. Olajuwon was 2 of 3 from the line in the first half. Now he's 2 of 4. Checking in is Ray Irvin in place of Kent Wichahusky. Both guys pretty good size, but Irvin maybe with a little edge and quickness, and I think Gerald Myers probably wants that quickness on Akeem. Akeem's really wheeling and dealing inside tonight.
Can't see it off camera, but the Tech band is waving trumpets, trombones, pom-poms, everything in the world when Cougars get ready to shoot a free throw.
Well, you got to get used to that. Bubba Jennings continues to stay hot. 18 points for the little guard from Hobbs, New Mexico. What a competitor that guy is. I really like him. 41-36 Cougars. Alvin Franklin to Clyde Drexler. Michael Young from 20 feet. So if Young starts out the second half with, when he makes one, look out. He can really heat up fast. 43-36. 7-point lead for Houston. Just underway with the second half from Lubbock Municipal Coliseum. A little over 8,000 people in here tonight. They have a waiting list for season tickets and have had for many, many years here. They've had some great teams at Tech in the years past. No foul. Vince Taylor inside to David Reynolds. So there was some contact when Mishaw hit the ground. Very wisely, Tech went inside the paint and scored over Olajuwon. 43-38. Cougars cannot shake the Red Raiders. Alvin Franklin from the top of the key. Bingo. Franklin with 2. And for the game, Alvin now with 10 points. David Reynolds to Quentin Anderson. Back to Bubba Jennings. Texas Tech. Jennings penetrates, throws it out of bounds, right to the Texas Tech bench. So that time, Jennings got himself in a jam, as you see a young Red Raider fan looking on. I don't think she knows quite what all this excitement's about, but she will before too much longer.
I think she's stunned by seeing Bubba finally make a mistake.
They love their basketball on the high plains of West Texas. Clyde Drexler looking for Mishaw. Mishaw guarded closely in there by Quentin Anderson. They'll try it one more time. There they got him open. He puts it up off the glass. It rolls around and just goes out. Akeem saves it for Houston. There's a mismatch for you. Jennings on Akeem Olajuwon. Drexler from about 23 feet. He throws it. He misses everything. It was tipped back into Michael Young. Good hustle by Ray Irvin, but unfortunately for Tech, he tipped it to the wrong guy, and Michael Young now heating up with 8 points.
It was a very bad place for him to gamble on a save because there were 2 Cougars running the hoop, and so many times you see a player do that without thinking, Bill.
Vince Taylor. And it's a 7-point game. Houston leading by 7. 15:50 left to play in the game. Alvin Franklin brings it up for Houston. As you heard David Rose talk about, most of the teams have hung tough with Houston the first half, and then Houston's gone on to win big. But right now, Tech's hanging in there. They don't look like they're going to give it any at all. Franklin misses. Drexler high for the offensive board. Puts it up and misses, and it's tipped back out to Franklin. 45 new ticks in the shot clock, but Young's not going to use them. And it's cleared by Quentin Anderson. Quickly down court, Bubba Jennings gets all the way inside, puts it up over the mountain of trees, stolen away from Drexler by Ray Irvin. David Reynolds off the glass for two, and Texas Tech hustling everywhere. The Red Raiders not giving an inch to Houston. And it's a 5-point game, 15 minutes to play. Alvin Franklin yo-yos it up in front court. Michael Young down the baseline, puts it up from about 5 feet. Good. Young 3 for 4 in the second half. Michael now with 12 points.
Michael's a strict,
10 points.
Michael is really a strict scorer. I think he's trying to go inside now and create a few things, anything to get his game going, Bill.
Guy Lewis looks on, a little concerned for the moment. He'd like a little more distance between his team and Texas Tech. Gerald Myers concerned just the other way. He'd like to close the gap. Houston by 7. Tech delivered. 25 seconds. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Good screen set by Quentin Anderson. Jennings can't hit it. Alvin Franklin 3-on-2 Houston. And Jennings with those quick hands. Franklin was trying to go to Akeem for a layup, and Jennings knocked it out of bounds. That kid does everything but sweep up the building.
Have you noticed how similar this game is to the TCU Arkansas game today?
Yeah, timeout on the court. Bubba Jennings wants to get a breather. He's leading Texas Tech right now, and they're only 7 points behind the U of H. We'll be back with Ann Bancroft and Margot Hemingway, starring Lipstick. First time on free TV. That's Lipstick, Tuesday night at 7 o'clock here on KHTV, Channel 39. Parental discretion advised. 49-42. 7-point lead by Houston. The Cougars bring it in. 6 minutes left in the game. SMU leads Baylor 47-38. Michael Young, 4 of 5 from the field. That left hand is sizzling right now. 51-42. Young, a moment ago we told you, with only 4 points, now has 12.
He is as smooth as honey, though, when he gets that shot down. So good.
Quentin Anderson in the middle of a whole bunch of arms, all belonging to Cougars. So he gets it back outside. Ray Irvin on the baseline on Akeem, thinks better of it. Good judgment on his part. Ray Irvin back to Bubba Jennings. Around the horn go the Red Raiders. David Reynolds puts it up over the Cougars. It's tipped up. Good offensive board by Vince Taylor. Look at him jump. Ray Irvin slapped away by Misha or Akeem. And Akeem is hot.
Well, it's kind of hard to believe. There was a foul by Cougar, I think.
Let's see what he's hot about. They call the foul.
There was a foul in there by Misha, I think, before Misha, but I think that Akeem got it clean.
Did they give the foul to Akeem?
Yes, they did.
It's 2 fouls on Olajuwon. Well, I see why. I think Misha got the foul.
I was going to say that was a foul an hour ago, but it's not now.
Misha got the foul. Akeem got the block, and Akeem gets the foul. And Irvin misses the free throw. Texas Tech, the leading free throw shooting team in the Southwest Conference. Irvin puts 1 more up, so he gets 1 out of 2. 51-43. Houston, 13:33 left to play. Alvin Franklin. Now Texas Tech in a zone defense. Over to Clyde Drexler. Franklin will shoot it from the top of the key off the back of the iron. Misha, however, rushes out. A hustle for the ball to Quentin Anderson. Here comes Texas Tech. Ray Irvin charging, I think, will be called on Irving. Yes, it is. That time, Michael Young had great position, and it took a lot of guts to hang in there. Irvin weighs about 225 pounds, and he's 6'10".
Running out of control. Oops.
Oh, my.
Irvin is from Blue Springs, Missouri, which is also the hometown of John Sunvold, who's an outstanding point guard of Missouri.
You got me on that trivia question. I'd never known it. I owe you one. Michael Young, who's been real hot for Houston in the second half. Drexler has not been in the Houston offense at all here in the second half. Franklin going to penetrate, and it's blocked by Vince Taylor, and they're going to call a foul on Taylor. Gerald Myers doesn't like it. Taylor didn't like it. Referees don't necessarily like it, but they called it. Well, I think they called it on the body more than anything else.
Yeah, him and Irvin were both clubbing him pretty good up there on top.
I don't know. I thought it was
We'll give it to him.
I thought it was a pretty good play by Taylor myself.
Well, I did too, Bill. I don't know what.
You know,
but we're not calling the game,
I know,
unfortunately.
there have been about 3 or 4 blocks that have been called fouls tonight on both sides. So at least the officials are consistent.
Sometimes.
They're not showing any favoritism. It's a 10-point game now. Houston up by 10. Cougars trying to pull away from Tech, 12-37. Game has gotten very physical here in the second half. Quentin gets it outside. David Reynolds. Ray Irvin back to Quentin Anderson. Shoots it from way out, and Michael Young with a rebound. It looks like the Cougars, because of the live rim here at Texas Tech, have moved their rebounding positioning out a little further. George.
See, that's smart, because those balls were bouncing over their first line of perimeter defense earlier.
Drexler short, but Franklin right back to him. He's got Young. He's hot in the second half. It bounces around, won't go. Mishaw. Offensive rebounding for Houston beginning to pay off. Now that Houston muscle beginning to wear Tech down. Cougars by 12, and Gerald Myers wants to talk it over.
A very prudent move.
The University of Houston starting to show its claws with 11:49 left to play. It's 55-40 Tech. Wednesday night at 7:30. Catch more great Southwest Conference basketball action here on Channel 39 when the Rice Owls defend the home court against the Red Raiders right here at Texas Tech. That'll be at the Rice Court live. That's Wednesday night at 7:30 here on KHTV Channel 39. So Myers has talked it over with the Red Raiders. Houston out to a 12-point bulge, the largest lead of the night for the Cougars. Interception by Michael Young. Watch for the dunk. Yeah, he doesn't get it. Puts it up right-handed. Smart move.
Bill, we had said
Michael Young.
We had said the first 5 minutes of this half would be the telling point. And you can see Houston is beginning to edge slowly away here.
14 points for Michael Young. He has been the big gun. 5 buckets, 10 points for Young since the half. The Cougars now by 14. Tony Benford in the game to Bubba Jennings.
Oh,
he
Bubba.
thinks better of it. Bubba had the shot, but I think he saw Akeem up there. He saw him again. This time he dribbles in. Akeem gets it. A foul is called. A late whistle.
I see what he wanted to do.
Foul is called on Mishaw.
He wanted to get the free throw instead of the jumper. That's what it was.
Yeah, Mishaw got him from behind that time they saw it. Bubba Jennings with 18 points. He'll be shooting two shots. Bubba perfect from the free throw line. The leading free throw shooter, he and Darrell Browder, the leading 2 free throw shooters in the Southwest Conference. Golly, I jinx them every time, don't I? You know, all you got to do is say that they're one of the better free throw shooters, and they miss them. He gets 1 of 2. 57-44, Houston. 11 minutes left to play in this game. Alvin Franklin to Michael Young. They're going to have to come out on Young. He has got a sizzling left hand right now for the Cougars. Young just roaming the baseline. He just roams from one side to the other. He's over there. Now he'll come back. Drexler has the ball. Now they're looking all the way across court. They might throw it away, and they do throw it away. Texas Tech has it.
Alvin Franklin's having a little word with Clyde Drexler. I think he thinks that Clyde should have come out, let him get the ball there.
Texas Tech with a chance to get it down a little bit. Wichita Husky in the ball game now, number 5, to Tony Benford, number 34. Those are the 2 new faces for Texas Tech. Wichita Husky has it. Decides not to shoot. Quentin Anderson does, and he makes it. Wichita Husky passed up a 5-footer, gave Anderson a 25-footer, and that time he made it. Gerald Myers almost had a heart attack.
That makes good sense, Bill.
Tech now within 11. Cougars 57, Tech 46. Inside, Clyde Drexler won't go. Akeem goes up with it, puts it up. It won't go down, and a foul is called on Tech on Tony Benford.
And Clyde comes inside, a very rare miss for him. Akeem is right there. Nobody block him out. He comes in and gets slapped.
Reed Geddes checks in for Houston. Alvin Franklin goes out of the game. So Geddes and Young in the backcourt.
Here come the trombones. You can't see it on camera, but the band is up with trombones, trumpets, hats.
Remember Syracuse? They do more than that. Bubba Jennings was saying something to Akeem. Has anybody told Bubba he probably can't understand it? 58-46. And a timeout is called by Texas Tech. It's the Shamrock Hilton Hotel. It's the annual Houston Sports Writers and Sportscasters Toast and Roast. And the man getting the roasting and the toasting on February the 28th will be Guy B. Lewis, the head coach of the Cougars. Don't forget the toast and roast. That's 961-LOVE Love. 961-LOVE for tickets to the toast and roast for Guy B. Lewis. Benford puts it up from the baseline for 2 for Texas Tech.
Arching over Akeem. That was a very good shot. He got a high arch on the ball over the big man jumping out right in the hoop.
4 points for Tony Benford. So Tech now down by only 10 as they've worked it back to 10 points. Akeem, Olajuwon to Geddes. Michael Young. 12 points for Young in the second half.
Cougars
16 for the game.
The Cougars have gotten much more aggressive on offense as well as defense. They're got the confidence up now, and I think that Michael hitting, they're going to really open up the inside because you've got to defend them both outside with Michael and inside with the big guy.
Wichahusky puts up a flare.
You gotta love it.
I thought that was a rainbow. That'll bring rain out here even in Lubbock.
I'll tell you one thing, Bill. Tech has gotten used to that big arch on the ball now.
Michael Young. Oh, my goodness.
It's going to be tough.
18 points for Michael Young. I told you about the SMU game. He only had 4 at the half, finished with 24. He's headed that way again. 18 points for Michael Young. 62-50, 12-point Houston lead. Wichahusky dribbles outside the lane, passes back to Bubba Jennings. I'd like to take Young to Las Vegas with me.
I think Michael was a little bit embarrassed by the first half.
Stolen by Akeem. Long down-court pass to Mishaw. Can he control it? But he has no help. Gets it back to Reed Geddes, and Geddes will set it up for Houston. So give the steal to Akeem and to Mishaw. Point-blank range off the glass for 2. Larry Mishaw with 10 points, and the Cougars now by 14. 8:15 left to play.
Larry made a great move there also. The ball came down court. He had Clyde coming down, but Clyde was covered, and Mishaw didn't force it in.
Quentin Anderson with a good intimidation by Houston. Right now in the ball game for the Cougars, you got 4 youngsters from Houston and 1 from Lagos, Nigeria in the ball game. Finger roll for Drexler, give the assist to Reed Geddes, and the Cougars now by 16.
Well, that was Mishaw again there. Bill came down and a little scoop pass over the top.
Texas Tech now, the crowd trying to encourage the Red Raiders. Try to hang in there. Benford with a good move. Goaltending on Olajuwon.
Akeem wanted that one. There's no question about the goaltending on that. He just wanted to play a little volleyball.
Well, you know, Guy, a timeout is called on the court. So with 7:38 left to play in this game, the University of Houston 66, Texas Tech 52. We'll be back and see what Akeem's got up his sleeve next, right after this. 7 o'clock movie, James Garner and Eva Marie Saint star in the Academy Award-winning motion picture Grand Prix, Part 1, Racing Adventure. That's Thursday night at 7 here on KHTV, Channel 39. Reed Geddes brings it up. Akeem is out now, and Benny Anders is checked in for Houston. Mr. Instant Offense, a foul is called on Wichahusky. And the youngster is excited. He thought he had a steal there.
I'm sorry, Bill, but that was definitely a foul. In the Southwest Conference, that's a foul. Conference football is not a foul. That's a foul in the ball.
Darryl Myers giving some instruction. And he's warning his guys to watch out for a trick play. It's passed in, and the only trick is played on Houston. Texas Tech gets it. Tony Benford all the way down the court. Drexler with a steal for Michael Young. Boy, I'll tell you, the cat-quick moves of Clyde Drexler. He's got him.
He has such a lively body, lively hands, and a lively mind. He's just always right there.
Reed Geddes, even when Drexler's not shooting well, George, he does everything else. He gets assists, he gets rebounds.
Well, he's much more valuable as a defensive player than as a scorer. You just see what he does. He's just really the glue behind the whole team.
Unbelievable shooting exhibition. Michael Young now. Let's count him up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 field goals in the second half. 20 points.
What did we say? We said that you can't keep him down all night. He is too good a shooter for that.
68-52 Houston. Benford goes to the baseline and is tipped in by Ray Irvin.
That was just all quickness. Irvin just got there, cut right in between 2 Cougars who had position, got that ball back up and in.
Irvin with 9 points. Benny Anders back out to Reed Geddes. Mishaw, he's got Young again. If he wants him, he takes it in, and he is hacked. Take your pick. He was sandwiched between 2 Red Raiders.
Now, Larry can't believe this. You see, he's so surprised. He sees a little lane opens up for him right there, and he can't believe how lucky he is. It closes in a hurry, but it was open for about a couple minutes, a couple seconds there.
David Reynolds, you see, Larry not a very good free throw shooter, only a little over 53%. He almost, well, he is. He's better from the field than he is from the free throw line.
Well, that's about 5 feet past his range. The free throw line's 15 feet. His range is about 10 feet.
They say in the pros that he'll be one of the high forwards to go, but he plays with his back to the bucket, George. You think he'll go that high?
I really do, because of the fact that he is such a strong fundamental player. And like I saw a while ago, he has a hook shot, he has a little fadeaway jumper, and he's a very good defensive player.
Mishaw now with 12 points. Houston 70-54. Benford to the baseline. Reynolds will take it. Won't go. Mishaw goes high for another one of his many rebounds tonight. So Larry Mishaw playing a heck of a game. All 5 Houston starters in double figures. Anders puts it up for 2.
Oh, my goodness.
Benny Anders.
When Benny starts, turn out the lights.
6'5" sophomore from Bernice, Louisiana. 8 rebounds for Mishaw tonight, and those are the first 2 points for Benny Anders. 72-54. The Cougars now starting to blow this one out. Steal by Houston. Could be a 20-point bulge. Michael Young puts it up for 2, and Young was off balance with a great pass from Clyde Drexler.
Clyde made that play with a quick pickup off the floor, and he saw a red suit, zip, 2 points.
Houston by 20, 5:24 to play. The overpowering strength of Houston. Benford for 2. The Cougars just keep coming at you, George, with so many players, and Texas Tech with only 8 players suited up, and he's only played 7 tonight, and it's tough.
We had discussed that earlier, that there's no way that you can keep a team as powerful, as much muscle as Houston has, but off the ball with Houston players.
Well, the crowd wanted a foul. Actually, there was really no foul by either player, I thought. I thought the referee was waiting for somebody to make a move, and they both stood there. Just the fact that he's so much bigger.
Once again, so many times if you have a big man and a little man going for the ball, they both have the same opportunity to go for the ball, but so many times the referee will call a foul on the big man just because of the imbalance. That's not right.
Well, I'm a little guy. I root for the little guy, too.
So do I. All 5'10" of them.
We ought to get them sometime. That's what Bubba was thinking. Vince Taylor in the game now for Ray Irving. Tony Benford. Rebounded by Drexler to Benny Anders. Anders around Jennings. Going to take it up for a slam dunk. Oh, Benny Anders. He is one of the charter members of the Phi Slamma Jamma.
Well, Benny's a very exciting player. If he could only handle the ball a little bit better, he would be have much more playing time for Guy Lewis.
David Reynolds with 2 points. Reynolds, the player of the week in the Southwest Conference last year. That's 10 points for David. Keep an eye on him. He's just a junior. He'll be back next year. Reed Guthers with a foul.
That's a good, honest foul, though. If you're going to get a foul, smack somebody. He wasn't tap dancing around, Bill. He went in there and smashed him. He got his money's worth on that one.
Guy Lewis up off the bench, and he's happy with the way his team is playing right now. Up by 18 points, 76-58, 3:55 left to play. 45-second clock off, of course. Gerald Myers trying to figure out some way to get some points on the board. That guy should do it. Wichahusky. Good second effort by Kent Wichahusky. You know, I saw this kid play about 4 weeks ago in Dallas, and he couldn't play a lick. But since he has started playing some more, for Gerald Myers, he shows a lot more confidence. In fact, all of these youngsters do. They're playing good basketball.
Well, he's a freshman, and so often the replay coming up here. Okay. A little slap on the hand.
There's the reach in. Foul called on Reynolds. That's 4 fouls now on David Reynolds, and 4 fouls on Wichahusky.
I don't believe it matters at this point.
Drexler. Well, if it continues this way, 3:35 left to play. Houston up by 17. 77-60. 18 points for Clyde Drexler now. That's 15 points for Clyde. All 5 Cougar starters in double figures. The first time that has happened this season. Wichahusky blocked by Akeem. You gotta fake him.
All of a sudden the lights went out. A giant hand was there.
A Spalding sandwich for dinner. Wichahusky will pass it this time. Over to Benford. Benford inside. Slammed up by Vince Taylor. Great ball handling by Texas Tech.
Well, that's some small consolation. I'll get the fans going. Bring them back to the next game.
That gets me going. Vince Taylor can get up in the air just like his brother Jeff. Benny Anders short. Tipped back by Drexler. Drexler going to take it in. Passes off to Akeem. Off the glass. Won't go. Tipped up by Drexler. Benford with a rebound. Fast break Texas Tech. 2:45 left to go. Bubba Jennings blocked from behind by Drexler. Quickly to Benny Anders. Intercepted by Benford. Benford takes it up. Reverse layup. Akeem made him switch his shot. And the big guy gets it up in the air, and he's hacked by Reynolds, and that'll be all. That's 5 fouls on David Reynolds. Olajuwon reminds me of King Kong. Remember the old movie, King Kong on top of the Empire State Building, swatting away those airplanes? The big guy is on the floor. David Reynolds checks out of the game with his 5th foul. 10 points for David Reynolds. Shaw prepares to check back in for Houston.
I can see Akeem up on the Empire State Building, snapping back planes.
Well, a lot of people we've talked to think that right now he may be one of the best in the nation defensively, even maybe as good as Ralph Sampson or Ewing defensively. Offensively, he's still got a ways to go.
Bill, Elvin Hayes thinks that he might be the best shot blocker in the country, professional, junior high, college, whatever.
79-62 Cougars. 2:21 left to play. Vince Taylor from way outside. Vince Taylor now with 10 points. Texas Tech team hanging tough. Michael Young brings it up for Houston. Michael's been the big difference for the Cougars, and the Cougars now go into their spread offense. The passing game Guy Lewis is so famous for. He swears that he's not trying to stall it, that he tries to score off of this. Akeem back outside to Reed Geddes. 1:54 left to play. Michael Young looking for somebody to pass it to. All the way out to Geddes, back around to Drexler. The Cougars stalling off the clock. Back out to Rose, and they're just playing pitch and catch. Drexler tries to dribble it through 2 or 3 people. Back out to Akeem. And it's knocked back over to Young.
That's a little bit of your YMCA ball there, Bill.
If you just tuned in, no, this is not roller derby. Akeem going to wheel and deal inside over Vince Taylor. Wichahusky foul by Akeem. Or Drexler, I don't know. They were both there.
Wichahusky has shown me a lot of internal fortitude.
Foul is on Drexler.
Akeem goes up with a little hook shot. You can see Clyde coming around the side.
Yeah,
Wichahusky is right there.
I'll tell you what, Akeem got one too. Akeem had the left arm, Clyde had the right. Texas Tech will bring it in. 1:21 left to play. Houston has its 22nd win of the season wrapped up. 13-0 in the Southwest Conference. Bubba Jennings. Boy, I'll tell you, I really liked him. 21 points for Bubba Jennings. He's really played a good game for Tech. Foul is called on Jennings.
If Bubba were 6'10" instead of 5'10", he would be illegal.
What a competitor. He has not slowed down 1 inch since this game. The Cougars started pulling away. He just plays harder.
I've been surprised really at how quick he is, though, on that dribble up the middle. He does that so well. And if you play him too close, he'll go around you. If you back off, he'll shoot a jump shot. He's awfully hard to defense.
And I like this youngster right here, too. Reed Geddes out of Memorial High School in Houston. One of the assist leaders in the Southwest Conference. He's number 2 in assists and doesn't get that many minutes either. Bubba Jennings. Tipped up in the air. Vince Taylor going real high to get it, and a foul is called on Drexler. I believe. Yes, it is on Clyde. That's foul number 4 on Clyde Drexler.
Texas Tech is playing now just out of pride, maybe a little bit out of anger, but you can see that they are still banging the boards.
Well, I can't say enough about the job Gerald Myers has done, but you also can't say enough about the job Guy Lewis has done. Because Houston is going to probably now move up to number 2 in the nation, George.
Houston is really a 15-point better team than Texas Tech, and the form sheet just held true here. Tech did as well as they could possibly have done under the conditions.
David Rose gets it back to Geddes. 54 seconds. Texas Tech on a full court press. Being double teamed. Geddes gets it to Drexler. Drexler over to David Rose. Rose has a 3-on-2. Michael Young goes up for 2 for Houston. Well executed by the Cougars. Quickly down court, Vince Taylor for Tech. 40 seconds left. Taylor puts it up for 2. Run and gun garbage time. Taylor hits the court. Slam dunk and Sargent is called on Larry Mishaw, and the Cougar bench can't believe it.
That's a good foul. Larry went up with his left arm and held him off. That's a very good call by the referee there, Bill.
Look at Guy Lewis.
Guy doesn't like it. He didn't see what I saw, evidently.
82-70 now. Tech can get within 10 with a bucket here. Bubba Jennings up off the glass. 18 seconds to go. A 10-point game, and Gerald Myers wants a timeout. So there you see the score. Houston was up by 20 points. We'll be back with more right after this commercial timeout. Just have to kill off 17 seconds to end this game. Houston leading by 10. Houston was up by a foul called on Tech, and that's number 30, Tobin Dota, his first time in the game. Houston was leading by 20, but you got to admire Tech for battling and staying in there and making a pretty tough finish out of it.
They just flat out hustled the Cougars about the last minute or so. Their odds are still awfully long, but this will bring the fans back next week, Bill.
This is what some people have been talking about, though, George, that they think Houston needs a tough game. Well, they're going to get it, because I think everybody now is pointing to that March 3rd date in Fayetteville, Arkansas, because that will be for the Southwest Conference Championship if Arkansas and Houston win the rest.
That'll be a great test for them, I think, going into the playoffs. A close game on a hostile court.
Michael Young now with 25 points. He had 4 at the half. What did we say?
He is the difference.
26 points for Michael Young. 84-72. 13 ticks left. Vince Taylor puts it up. Misses everything. Tobin Dota goes up. Mishaw with a block and call for the foul. 5 seconds. You see it left on the clock. As the Cougars will now go 22-2, 13-0 in the Southwest Conference. North Carolina lost 2 games this week. Indiana was upset by Iowa. So what do you think, George? Cougars number 2 in the nation behind Las Vegas, with Arkansas possibly moving up as high as number 4.
Cougars are going to be number 2, and they probably should be number 1. If the coaches tell me what they say are true, they should be probably number 1. Las Vegas has had a schedule that has not been, shall we say, the toughest in the world.
Tipped in by Wichahusky. Good hustle by Kent Wichahusky, and that's the end of the ball game. With the final score, Houston 84, Texas Tech 75. But a lot of hustle by Gerald Myers and his team to hang tough in the second half, but it was just too much. Michael Young and the Houston Cougars, all 5 Cougar starters in double figures. That's the end of the game. Again, the final score, Houston 84, Tech 75. We'll return for a wrap-up and some interviews in just a moment. Keeping its record unblemished, 13-0 in the Southwest Conference, 22-2 with a national record. The Cougars now with a possibility to move up to number 2 in the nation when the polls come out on Monday. An 84-75 win over a stubborn Texas Tech. And here's a guy that had a lot to do with that Houston win tonight, Michael Young. Michael, we told everybody at halftime that you had done the same thing in Dallas. You had 4 points at halftime against SMU, ended up with 24 to be high man there. Tonight, you had 4 points at the half, ended up with 26. What happens? Did it take you about a half to get ready?
Well, no, it's not really that, you know. We come out in the first half, they were playing up on me, and we were getting the ball inside to our big men, and they were scoring. And I guess at halftime, he looked it over and said they're going to sag back, and that left me open for the outside shot.
I noticed he moved you down to the baseline in the second half. You like that shot a lot, and you seem to get open down there.
Yes, you know, when he put me down on the baseline, I have an option to run off the pick or play out. And when I run off the pick, I get open for the shot a lot more.
When Akeem takes over early like he did tonight, does everybody kind of stand back? When he's hot like that from the inside, you just want to keep feeding him, don't you?
Yes, just keep feeding him the ball and let him work it in up on the inside and score and try to get their big men in foul trouble.
Is it kind of like boxing? You guys look like you spar around with an opponent until you find out where they're going to try to stop you, then you go elsewhere.
Yes, you know, we find out where we going to stop them, and then we go to work up on offense, working the ball around, getting it to the open man, and just overall just trying to play well as a team.
In the second half, you went to a zone, or you went early. In the first half, I believe you went to a zone after the man-to-man failed you a little bit.
Yes, you know, we were playing man-to-man. They was picking us up in the back, and they was getting the easy shot, and some of our men was getting in foul trouble earlier, so the coach said we're going to come out and play man-to-man and deny them the ball up on the inside and let them take the shot from the outside.
George, you have a question for Michael?
Michael, you had 3 fouls in the first half. Was that affecting your offense very much? Were you kind of laying back a little bit because of the 3 fouls?
Well, no, I wasn't laying back at all. Coach told us, you know, even though we are in foul trouble, still give it all that you have whenever you come out and play, you know. And it wasn't affecting me, but, you know, they were calling the fouls, but I didn't pay it any attention, just going out and play the best of my ability.
Were they kind of surprised, you think, in the second half when you came out so hot? Were they kind of laying back off of you because you hadn't been too loud, so to speak, in the first half? Were they kind of laying back and saying that you weren't going to get started tonight, maybe? Could that be a factor?
Yes, that was one of the major factors why I scored like I did tonight. They were sagging off of me and wouldn't let us throw it into our big men, so I just took what was open, and it worked out pretty good for me.
They have to be so conscious, of course, of your inside game with the team going like he was. He seemed to really want the ball tonight, didn't he?
Yes, you know, he was telling us, you know, he's gonna post up. I told him to give me the hands so I could get him the ball. And every time he did it, we got him the ball, and he was scoring off of it. And whenever the big man want to start scoring, you know, we like to see that because that's improvement, and that's something we're going to need in the long run.
Teams can't cover you outside, inside, all over the court, right?
Well, no, I don't think they can cover us, you know, outside, inside, you know, because we have a lot of players that can shoot.
Too many weapons.
Play.
Right.
Yes, you know, and we have a lot of weapons to go to.
Michael, I was awfully impressed with the effort by Texas Tech. They've gone through a lot of adversity this year. 3 of his star players he had to suspend. Back, you know, at the first part of the Southwest Conference season, they've come on to win 7 of their last 11. They'd won 3 in a row coming into this game. They fought adversity pretty good here at Texas Tech.
Yes, I respect Texas Tech a whole lot. You know, with the players that they have, they really come out and played us a very tough game. And even though they do have eight men on the court, you take some coaches don't play no more than 8 men, so you can't look at it from that aspect. You have to come out and play all that you have, and if you don't, Texas Tech will beat you.
I thought the freshmen from Tech grew up a little bit from the first time you played them. They didn't look as tentative here in their own building tonight. They went after you pretty good.
Oh, you're right. They're both they're freshman men on the inside. They were really rebounding on the inside, going at our big men well.
All right, let's talk about something I know you guys don't want to talk about too much because you try to keep your mind off of it and keep it on basketball, but you can't deny the fact that you could be the #2 team in the nation come Monday.
Yes, you know, if they rank us the #2 team in the nation, you know, I think that could be one of the greatest things that could ever happen to University of Houston and University of Houston players. And if they rank us there, it's just a great feeling that we will try to keep up and withhold it. What do you say to the people who claim that you don't play the schedule the North Carolinas and the Indianas play? Well, you know, if they say we don't play those type of schedules, I still say the Southwest Conference is tough basketball, and it can match up with any other conference. And when you go out and play, you have to play. And players like North Carolina Conference and all, you know, schools over there, you know, you have to go out and if you play them to the best of their ability. But our teams over here is just as good as theirs are. Well, you got Rice left to play in another game before the big March the 3rd date in Fayetteville. Does that creep into your mind very much? I know you watched that game on TV today, Arkansas beating TCU. Well, yes, you know, it's something that you can't, you know, go without thinking about it, but you have to take the games one at a time. But when the time comes for us to play down in Fayetteville, I think we're going down there and play them a good game and try to win it. Michael, go get a shower. You played a great game, 26 points, and 22 of those coming in the second half. Yes, well, thank you. We'll see you down the road. Alrighty. Michael Young, high point man for the University of Houston Cougars, scoring 22 points in the second half, 26 to finish his high man. George, some of your thoughts on the game?
Just like Michael said, you can't cover this team inside and outside. In the first half, it took it to him with Hakeem. The second half, when you get an outside perimeter game going, the defense is just stretched so thin that you cannot possibly, with 5 guys, cover the outside, the inside, the top of the key. And that's what happened. Houston just got all parts of the game going, and once it happens, you can't stop it.
You think this is the best team that's ever been at the University of Houston?
Well, I didn't see the boys back in '68, '67 with Alvin and that bunch, but Alvin tells me that this team is better, and I got to trust his judgment. If he says they're better, they're better.
Shelby Metcalf said the thing that impressed him is that the Cougars have 4 first-round draft choices eventually in NBA basketball, but he's never seen that many stars pass the ball and work it well together.
Well, I'll tell you, a funny thing about this team is that they have great offensive players, but their game really begins on defense. And you don't see a team with this kind of offensive players that want to play defense like this. And if you have guys who are willing to go down and dig in the mud and get in the trenches, you don't mind seeing them have a couple of dunks and some little circuit stuff like that.
Okay, High Point.